Do you want to know what's going round? See what's the talk of the town on Real Talk on the radio today.
And welcome to Real Talk Radio 97.5. You're listening to John Rawlings with Real Talk Radio, and Frank Lama is in the house today. But first, I want to give a special thanks and really just a bunch of kudos to our major sponsors, Allstate Insurance, Hardin Insurance Group, Justin, Box, and Katie. Fantastic job that they do there, and major sponsors. Also with Remax Palm Realty, we have Peter and Mark, fantastic brokerage, and a major sponsor of ours. And also Lions Title and Trust, a major player in what we're doing, and focused on the growth of Northport and also the growth of the community radio stations. So all those companies that are out there, Zio's Pizza, I know you're a monthly subscription. We've got more coming. We've got some big news coming our way, and we're super excited about that. But first and foremost, I'll throw Mr. Frank Lama into the mix. How you doing there, Frank?
John, thank you for having me on today. And I tell you, you are incredible. I mean, John, this isn't the first time we've done this. We've done this for quite a few years. And, you know, kudos to you and your radio station having us on here talking about, you know, any kind of solid waste, which is awesome. So thank you.
You know, it's a privilege to be connected with you, because over the years I can tell you that I've traveled a lot. I've checked out trash cans in more cities than I'll care to imagine at this point.
Right.
And the beauty of that is that along with checking out the trash cans, I realize how fantastic of a job that you've done here, but also the staff has done here. And it means a lot when you're traveling around and you're checking out other cities. And then I want citizens to know this too, because there's some bragging rights that come along with the recycling program that I walk around and I pound my chest about. You know, I know the number was low before. I know at one point you said we kind of turn in about $400,000 a year, which is the cost of a vehicle.
Yep. And we've had a few years like that. Correct.
Yeah. So that the citizens of Northport just need to realize that we're taking trash and turning it into money to keep our costs down.
Yeah. And I do have some numbers too. So
all right, let's go.
Yep. So I was looking at the past 6 years. Okay. So the recycling over the past 6 years, we do have a disposal cost. It costs us $500,000. John, in 6 years, the landfill cost us $13 million. That's a huge difference.
That's huge. Major. That's major. That's
huge. Huge. Yep. And it's saving our environment, helping out with the economy, saving energy, landfill space. I can go on and on and on, but it's just what we do here. And you brought up a good point, because you have to be innovative. If you're not innovative, you're just sitting back, putting your feet up, letting things go. You have to be innovative. You have to come up with ideas. That's how you do it.
You know, we're going through some transitions at the radio station, and I'm going to promise you something. As innovative as you guys are, we are stepping our game up. We are 100% taking the bull by the horns, and we're going to separate our past, and we're going to leap into the future.
Awesome.
I know that we're doing that same thing, because I know when I show up at Public Works and I walk down the hallway, you get out of your chair to come out and talk to me about this stuff. And I know the passion that you have. And I think when you link the passion that you have with the programs that you've implemented, that I give you a lot of respect, because in order to keep that going and to keep the innovative thought process, what's new? What are we going to adapt to? You know, I threw two things at the station. And I'll talk about one of them because I hate the word change because everybody else hates it. I like it, but everybody else hates it. So I like the way you adjust. I like the way you adjust and you save us revenue. Our job is to create revenue at the station because we have to support ourselves. But you actually are doing that by adjusting for the betterment of the city and the citizens, and yet bringing in revenue or keeping and maintaining revenue within your budget space so that you're not going after us for higher taxes.
Right. That's the goal. That's
And
the
you
goal.
know, to come to work every day and to have you that energized, that's got to be fun for you too.
Hey, John, it is fun. It's crazy how you mentioned that how much fun it is. 24 years, 3 months, 6 days. Every morning I get up, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do here to be innovative and try to keep the assessment low and not increase the assessment? That's my goal every day. And staff too, when we come in, we're always getting together, thinking of ideas of what we can do here. And that's what you need to do, And I've been doing it for over 24 years. And I enjoy every minute of it. I love working for the people in this great city. It's growing, and growing.
We've got some things that we've been talking about, like commission and city manager Jerome Fletcher, and even with the fire department and the police department. Price Boulevard is going to cause us some real headaches coming up in the very near future. As Public Works is concerned, I know that you're part of these meetings. Are we prepared?
I am. I'm prepared. Yep, we're prepared already. We have our ordinance in place. What we'll do is we'll go out there and we'll collect the garbage and recycling before they start, probably around 6 o'clock, 6:30. We'll have it up and done, so it won't really affect us at all. So we have a good plan for that. We're ready.
So we're making an early morning adjustment.
Yeah, we're excited about it, though. We're going to make an early morning adjustment. Some people might not be ready for that, but we'll go back and take care of them. But yeah, we're definitely ready. Bring it on.
We had we have all kinds of things to think about and worry about when it comes to the collection of trash, especially in a detour zone. A road being redone and road closures and different routes. You guys really work hard at making sure that the flow, even with the flow of traffic, because we get a trash truck and a recycle truck on Price Boulevard. Even right now, it causes, especially if you get one going each direction. That could be a major headache for even the first responders.
Correct. Yep. With us, it's a little simpler because what we'll do, John, is we'll make sure we're doing the collection at a slower peak of time where there's people on the road. But besides that, we never go through it during school time or anything like that. No one, it would cause a problem. So always have to be thinking about that.
Well, yeah, you've got a lot of futuristic ideas.
Yep.
What are some of your thoughts for 2025?
Well, John, the main thing is right now working on possibly getting the money for the transfer station. I mean, having a garbage transfer station in town, that's the main subject right now. And that's been my work since I've been here, trying to get the garbage transfer station off the ground. That's the main thing. But of course, we have other things going on. Our recycle coach is doing great, and that's something you can app on your phone. Basically tells you about all your collection schedules and tells you what color recycling tote to put out. So, we've always got things going on here, but it's more about the commercial end, trying to make things more efficient on the commercial end. That's basically it, though. So more about the transfer station, though. That's the main thing.
So I want to talk about the transfer station for a minute because I want to approach this maybe with a different approach. Let's approach it from a citizen's viewpoint. Why do we want to spend the money on that?
Because it pays for itself. Okay, you have to remember something. You're talking about fuel, you're talking about trucks, you're talking about staff. Think about all the hours. It's crazy. You wouldn't think about this, but we spend about 15,000 hours traveling here to 75 to the landfill and back. 15,000 hours. That's incredible. The garbage truck does 45 pounds of CO2 an hour. That's what it does. We can eliminate trucks off of the road. That's a good thing for the environment. Good thing for the environment. But that's John, I see all the numbers. So if you're a resident, I'd be telling you, listen, our recycling, our yard waste center. Let's talk about our yard waste center. Okay. Our yard waste center, which is out east, which we're going to hopefully build a transfer station there one day. The yard waste center is saving us $500,000 a year. It keeps all our yard waste trucks in town, doesn't even leave. They load up into a big 53-foot trailer. He takes it up to Port Charlotte. All right, that's how you do it. We did it with the recycling center. We did it with the yard waste center. Now it's time to do it with a garbage center. Now, the garbage zone. Remember, we're traveling at least 30 trucks each day back and forth to the landfill. That's what we're doing.
30 trucks a day, at least. That would be at least. I would imagine with wait time there, your turnaround, you're
that's right,
and then back on route. You're at least an hour and a half drive time round trip.
Yep. And John, it's pushing 2 hours because remember, we get up there, it's busy. So you wait in line to dump. You don't just go pull up and they dump. You have to sometimes wait there 20 minutes to a half hour.
So what do you tell the citizen that's a naysayer about it? And not that I've heard it. I really haven't heard anybody talking negatively, but I'm trying to address this differently. Because we always talk about the outcome of the financials, but there are citizens out there that will think this is BS. That why change it?
Man, here's the thing: why change it? Okay, I have maybe 5.5 years left before I retire. I have to worry about.
I'm sorry, we just moved your date. We're not letting you go that easy.
Yeah, but John, on a serious note, 20 years from now, people are going to say, "Man, thank God we did this." 20 years from now, because it's going to save people money all the way into the future. You have to be thinking about that. You have to be thinking about the future. This is going to save the taxpayers millions of dollars down the road. Millions.
How much do you figure we've saved so far with the recycling center being up?
About 12.5 million.
And how would you have calculated that out?
Well, if you think about it, our disposal costs with doing what we're doing with the dual stream and the recycling center, we've only paid $500,000, right, in disposal costs over 6 years. But think about our trucks don't leave town. Okay. Our trucks stay in town. Our trucks don't use fuel. Not as much fuel is traveling out of this town. So there's a lot of benefits where that's the money is. So you think we spent $500,000 on disposal? Recycling has been paying us all this time. And the yard waste center is doing exactly the same thing.
And let me tell you, that's almost scary.
John, you know what's scary? I think about it. If we didn't have either one of those centers, how much we'd be paying right now.
All right. So turn that into a number. Take both of those centers out. What would the taxpayers of Northport be expected to come up with?
Another $6 million
per year?
Nope, for the overall.
Overall.
Yep, overall. Yep.
That's still a chunk of change, bro.
Oh, it sure is. And but think about it. It's only 4 years at the yard waste center, and it's since 18. So you can add a little bit more on the 18 on the recycling center. You might see maybe 7-8 million.
How many cities have this?
How many cities have a transfer station?
How many cities are set up like we are?
For the dual stream recycling? So what kind of setup? Like dual stream recycling? No.
How many are set up as efficient as we are?
Oh, John, nobody. Nobody. I think they're just putting their feet up. But I listen. You bring that up. Matter of fact, unincorporated Sarasota County is finally switching to 95-gallon garbage totes. John, you know when we did that? 1999. Okay, they're just doing that now. Okay, we did that back in '99.
Why'd they wait so long?
They're pretty much. I couldn't tell you. All I know is they pretty much mirrored everything we do here.
Aren't they with Waste Management?
Waste Management is going to be. They're gone. They're going to be gone in March. It's going to be Waste Pro and FCC. So they split the county up into two.
Okay.
And now they're going with 95-gallon containers. You got to call for a bulk pickup. Say pretty much mirrored exactly what we've been doing.
So are we still at a third of the citizens participating in recycling?
No, we're pretty much almost 100%. People put their recycling in, but you have to remember something. Oh God, yeah, Johnny. John, our recycling guys are out there just as long as the garbage guys. Everybody puts the recycling out. Our percentage rate putting it out is excellent. The problem is the material inside, even the material over the last 10 years is getting lighter and lighter. Garbage is just getting heavier and heavier. That's the only reason why the numbers look low. That's the only reason why.
Well, that is true because we're taking some of this recycling material and it's actually recycled material.
Exactly. You think about a water bottle. 6 times it can be recycled over and over. Then after that, it can't be. But 6 times. So it can be recycled over and over and over. But there's a time where it gets so. You ever have those water bottles that are so flimsy? You know they've been probably on the 6th time. But,
yes.
Yep.
So where do you see the future of what we're doing now that we're not that we're getting pushed because we're already still focused on excellent, but what do you see us doing in the future? How about what is the future of trash in Northport?
Oh, what's the future of trash in Northport? Excellent service. Looking to basically, getting a transfer station is the main thing. That has to be it. That's the goal right here. Without a transfer station, I mean, we're gonna have to really be innovative and come up with something to make something happen. I mean, John, everybody wants money. Okay, the costs are going up. The landfill the last 2 years went up $10 a ton. People want money. Everybody wants to make new contracts, and of course, the contracts they want more money. So we have to keep doing our due diligence here, keep doing the right thing, keep trying to be efficient, and come up with ideas. That's what we need to do.
What do you think the odds are getting the transfer station are?
Well, I really hope the people understand how important it is. John, we've talked about this since 2011, and the cost just keeps going up and up and up. And this is something that definitely has to happen. Now, if the residents don't want it to happen, you know what's going to happen? We're going to keep bringing in more trucks, more people. We're going to keep driving back and forth to the landfill, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Trash has to be picked up.
Trash has to be picked up. Yep.
It's ironic that we're talking about the efficiency of trash pickup.
Yep.
And we've already done this. We've already proven this with recycling and yard waste. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to Ian for a minute because when we talk about Ian, we're talking about efficiency beyond belief, and I'm going to couple this with the ability for the citizens of Northport to vote smart on the next referendum. There's some emergency funding there. If we would have gotten hit by a second hurricane like they did recently in Charlotte County and Sarasota, that would have set us back massive. And we wouldn't have had nearly the cleanup, the effort that we had with Ian. Ian was a beast.
It was a challenge.
It was a beast. It was a beast.
It was a challenge.
You guys stepped up your game, but this referendum, when it comes to being able to borrow money on an emergency basis, people need to really wake up about that, because if we're talking about being effective with recycling pickup, we're talking about it being effective with the yard waste pickup, and now we're talking about effectiveness on being able to pick up the garbage. We're talking about three things there, but I hate to say this, when we talk about our hurricane waste pickup, that's not the same thing as yard waste pickup.
Right. Correct.
And can you talk a little bit about how that yard waste pickup time frame with Ian affected everything? Because I don't think people really truly understand that when you have a hurricane like that, it throws that all out of whack.
And that it does. Yeah, it did do that. Normally we just pick up barrels, bundles, tied bundles, let's see, our yard waste totes, normal procedure picking up. When you have a storm that size, I mean, everything comes to the curb. All the yard waste, then all the debris. And Ian was crazy because we even had C&D. Normally it's just yard waste, but then you had the C&D. So it takes away from us. We don't get any credit for any yard waste. Oh, by the way, I just want to tell you real quick. Commissioner Duval said hello. We just got done speaking with him. But
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. But when it comes to the yard waste, what happens is we have a yard waste number. We have we do a tonnage at the end of the year. And I was just talking to Commissioner Duval about how we're at 10,300. And the reason why we're so low is because every time a storm happens, we collect it, or Sears will collect it, but it's FEMA covered. So it kind of takes us away from doing what the guys should be doing, but we clean it up and then it goes down to the processor, and usually a farm. But when you have C&D also, because then the C&D sits out there, you have to give people time to put C&D out. That's sitting out there for a month. And then the yard waste is still coming out. So there's so many challenges that have to happen. And here, the staff here did an excellent job because we'd had everything cleaned up in 90 days, which was awesome. So,
yep, yeah, I got to tell you, it was unbelievable how fast our city looked normal again.
And I don't think anyone can ever match that. I mean, we just incredible with what we did with Ian. It was incredible.
Well, and I think I'll say this though. I think that if we got hit like Inglewood did back to backers, if we were to have that happen, I don't know that we could turn that around twice in 180 days. Because there's
John. Of course we can. Of course, this staff can. This staff can make things happen.
You still got to be able to move product though.
Yeah. John, during Ian, we had 120 vehicles out there.
That's crazy.
So yeah, we can make it happen.
Well, you've got as the city grows, things are going to change.
Right.
We were blessed that a portion of our roadways were easily converted into some storage area for debris. That was usable land, but that wasn't designed for it. Correct.
Yeah. Well, the yard waste center out east, we got, it worked out perfect. Our last storm, all the material went there. It was about 75,000 cubic yards. It was only 75. Remember, we did like 2.6 million during Ian, but the staff here did a great job. We got it all picked up, collected, and it's out of there. But our yard waste center, it's large enough, it's huge, and it's about 10 acres. And we were able to fit all the material there. It was neat and taken care of. So,
we talk about all these things, and these are important for people to really understand. When you go through a hurricane and you have cleanups like that, just because it's gone off our streets doesn't mean your job is done.
Not done. Right.
Yeah. How long did it take us after Ian and I'm going to say it like I mean it, and then you run with it. How long did it truly take us to finish that mission of Ian? Because it wasn't right after the streets were done, because we still had to get rid of a lot of debris.
Yeah, we still had a lot of mulch and debris to get rid of. But John, we had it done pretty quick. They had I would figure about, you have to remember something. To get 100%, you got to do it in a certain amount of time period. But we did not do it did not complete it, get all the material out of the site because it took time. I mean, they
Right.
had like 20 trailers going back and forth, and there was so much mulch that they had to get rid of. But I believe it took another 30 days, and then it was spotless. So they did a great job, though.
They did, and
Yeah, they
that,
did a great job.
that being said, when you're talking about the 30 days there,
Yep.
The fact that we're efficient in a major hurricane crisis,
Yep.
you guys are focused, laser focused on the efficiency. Without that,
Yep. No, we listen because we live in the town too. I live here, and I take pride in living in the city, and I want to make sure it's taken care of right.
well, the listening audience, if you have any questions for Frank, he's definitely a great target for your questions, and feel free to ask. Put them on Facebook. I'll put your questions up, and we'll get you answers. If you have some kudos to share, please do that too, because it's important to let them know how much they do care. And we did get a little bit of love out there from Mr. Chuck English.
Hey, Chuck.
I
mean, Chuck's about the environment, and so am I. So keep trucks off the road.
it works hand in glove, doesn't it?
Yep, sure does. Also, Johnny, I wanted to bring up our HHW is coming up pretty soon too. It's next month, March 15th, Saturday, March 15th, from 8 to 12 here at the Public Works Yard.
And how many people come to that?
Well, we're averaging the last one had 350 cars come through. And John, what I look at is this. It's not about the cars. There's 350 cars, yeah, but over 20,000 pounds of hazardous material doesn't go to the landfill. And that's a kudos to every single person here in Northport. Every single resident doing the right thing. And we're doing 2 a year. We're going to try to do 3. I think it's 3 a year this year. We're working on doing more events instead of people traveling all the way to the landfill, because that's where they have to go in the Comus. And we need to make sure we have something here. We're going to keep doing it here.
We've got a question from Kathleen. And thanks for listening, Kathleen. Frank, are these small cardboard containers with plastic pour spouts recyclable? If so,
Yes.
how? Paper, plastic,
Yes.
top separated.
They go into the blue lid container. Go into the commingled container. Yep.
The commingled
container.
I like that commingled container thing. So
yeah.
So talk about commingled container.
Yep.
What is that all about?
All right. Commingled container is where you put glass, plastic, cans, aluminum cans, metal, metal cans. The craziest thing is we don't want to wish cycle. We don't want to put like socks in there or clothes or anything like that. That's not this program. This program is strictly just glass, bottles, and cans. That's it. That's all this program is. What we run into is we see a lot of plastic bags, a lot of plastic film. That is not a recyclable material. Even if it has a number on it, it is not recyclable anywhere in Florida. Except bringing
there's a difference.
Bringing it back to the store.
Different state to state, right?
Yep. Oh, well, John, I think plastic bags and plastic film, pretty much you might find maybe a small portion of the United States even does that. I
don't even think Publix does that anymore, truthfully.
Well, Publix, you can go, it's funny because I tell everybody, bring the plastic bags back to Publix, back to Walmart. But if everybody did that, they had this little container out front, you would need a dumpster out there. You would need something bigger,
Yes, you would.
So,
yes, you would.
Yeah. But
definitely. Kathleen says, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Love you both.
Oh, tell her thank you. Excellent.
Yep. You just did.
Excellent.
Here's the thing. We all have to encourage our fellow neighbors to get better at it. I say this, participating is one thing. I say this about voting. I've been saying this for 8 years about voting. Get used to voting, get out there, and then get involved in what you're voting on. At least change the habit. Recycling is one thing. Learn how to throw things in the recycle bin. Now remember what to throw in the recycle bin, because there is some education that goes along with what goes into a bin. Can you talk about the importance of why our target is 10% or less?
John, my target's 0%, but it doesn't happen that way. The reason why is this. Well, let me go back a little bit. We do have a person called a planner scheduler. He is an inspector. He goes out and inspects the recycling containers. When a driver calls him and says, hey, listen, I got plastic bags here, or I got clothes here, he goes out to each home and he educates those residents to do the proper thing. And we don't collect it. They have to take it all out, properly prepare it, and we'll pick it up. The one thing we do have here, which the planner scheduler does, John, we're doing about 1,700 to 2,500 homes a year. That's what solid waste services every year. Okay. It's just building and building. He goes out to 40 to 45 homes every week. Yep. And he goes out there and he educates the residents, because now you have to remember, you have people coming here from maybe California, Florida, from New Jersey, New York. Everybody does a little things differently, but it's still the main thing is that we split our material up. We have cardboard in one and commingle in the other, which is glass, plastic, and cans. So we do things a little differently. So we have to educate the resident. We tell them, hey, this is the way we do things here. And then also we tell them, you're supposed to be on the opposite side of the street, because we have that opposite side of the street. We're in the collection. 65% of our people do that. But that's the thing. So we're out there. We're educating you. As soon as you move into Northport, you're seeing solid waste. You are seeing solid waste. We're educating you right off the bat.
That is also something different than a lot of cities do.
No, I don't think, John, I don't think anyone does that.
I really don't. I
don't think so. No.
I've watched, up in Cuyahoga Falls when my son lived up there, everything went in the recycle bin and one bin. Yeah. And the only thing I kept thinking was, you've got a whole bunch of money sitting there.
Yeah.
With every bin that goes away. And you've taught me one thing. There is a value in recycling, where a lot of people don't think there's any money in it. If you do it correctly and you have it implemented early in a city's life, it's a lot easier to change than even, let's say, unincorporated Sarasota County, who's making adjustments, 20 years after you?
Yep. 20 years.
So there is something to be said about the fact that we are keeping our foot on the gas pedal of success.
Yep. And a lot of times what will happen is when I meet other solid waste managers throughout the state, a lot of them, give us kudos because they're too afraid. They're too afraid to bring an idea. They're afraid, like the one side of the street. My first day here in 2000, I was in the truck. I'm like, why are we going up and down this? Now, I came from a supermarket. I was a supermarket manager. I was like, why are we going up and down this street twice? Why don't we just ask the resident to put it on one side? It would cut the routes down 4 hours.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, no, it's crazy. That would never happen. So that's the problem. And we did that. We proved it, that it does work. Other people are so afraid. Other managers are so afraid. They're afraid of change. They're afraid what people are going to say. Sometimes you have to go out there and do it.
It
you have to go out there and do it.
There is something to be said about even engaging with some of these guys that are driving in the trucks. I watch them. The pride, you talked about pride, you talked about living local, you talked about all these things.
Oh, yeah.
But when you talk to the guys in the trucks, they take a lot of pride in not leaving trash on the street behind. Something tips, they're out there picking it up. We've got people who are elderly who can get their trash can to their driveway door, and our guys get out of the truck, run up, grab it, empty it, and run it back up to them. I've watched them do that. It's not a courtesy they extend to everyone, but for the elderly who cannot, or the handicapped who cannot do it, we're definitely set up for success for them too, aren't we?
Yep. Yep. We have 250 walk-ups. That's what we do a week. 250.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've really never talked about the walk-ups. You and we've talked about a lot of things. I've always thought about it, but when you see it in action, you take it for granted because you're like, that's special, but it isn't really special when you think about it. It's special for us because we're doing it. There's other communities that don't do that.
Or they charge you to do it.
Or they
we're not going to do that. Because you have to remember something. Even if say we outsource and we have waste management in here. Waste management will do the service. But guess what? The city's paying for that. There's nothing free. They charge you for every little thing they do. And that's any solid waste company out there. They're always going to charge you.
So Mr. Chuck says, known Frankie for a while. One thing about his department and himself, they're proactive. No, you're not proactive, are you?
Listen, it's better than being reactive. That's the problem out there. Solid waste managers out there are just being reactive. They're not proactive. You need to be proactive. Doesn't matter if you're a solid waste manager or an operations manager or any kind of manager. That's the way to do it.
What was it like to present to the commissioners on the recycling program and get that transition started? What was it like to actually go back to them and not pound your chest, but know that when you were going back in there, you had your butt covered because guess what you did? You asked for a number and you covered it. And then it's just continued to pay for itself.
Right. Continues. The first year I had that paid off. The first year was paid off and even brought some revenue in. But, it's not just that. It's the yard waste center too. I mean, we're building up here to something really great that could possibly happen in the city and be great for the people in the future. I mean, just think on a Saturday, if you had anything extra, any kind of garbage you want to get rid of, you don't have to wait for us. You'd be able to go down there and drop it off. That's what a transfer station's about. And, we're building up towards that. That's why we did the recycling center in 2018. That's why we went ahead and did the yard waste center. I mean, we're showing a track record here of how it saves money. So now it's up to the residents. That's it. But it shows how to save money.
I know for a fact we've got another big date coming up, and that's our chemical pickup.
Yes, the chemical pickup for HHW is March 15th, Saturday, March 15th. Yep.
How important is that for the citizens of Northport to share with their neighbors?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. You know how many people are like, what do I do with this? It would be oil or like a chemical from like fertilizer, anything like that. Oh God, bulbs and certain types of bulbs that we take. It's huge. You don't want to put it in the trash can and have it go to the landfill. We do not want that to happen. Do not want that to happen.
It's amazing that these dates come and go for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're going to start announcing some of these things throughout the day on the radio station and try to make that connectivity back to the citizens with free flowing information. William, Mr. Chuck says aerosol cans. Talk about them.
Aerosol cans, is it empty or not empty?
As long as it's empty, it's a good thing.
If it's empty, it's a recyclable material. If it's not empty, it needs to come to the HHW.
Didn't we have somewhere in the nation, I can't remember where it was, one of the trash trucks blew up because somebody threw a gas cylinder in.
Oh, God, John, the propane tanks. Our biggest concern is muriatic acid. People put muriatic acid inside the recycling containers and the garbage containers. That's an automatic fire. I mean, we have to be worried all the time with that. So it's so dangerous, that muriatic acid. And you're right. Propane tanks is something that explode too.
Yeah. And that just happened. That was something that
You saw that, right?
I
You
did.
saw that thing? Yeah, I
I
saw that.
did.
Crazy. Oh my
And
Lord.
it
Huh,
luckily the guy that was on the back of the truck didn't get injured, but it did
right?
get him.
It was a oxygen tank. Those things we take at the oxygen tanks. The HHW doesn't even take them. You have to go back to where the oxygen tanks company is. They're the only ones that take that. We take fire extinguishers here at the HHW, but an oxygen tank goes right back to the person that you got it from. They're
And
dangerous.
we only have twice a year that we pick up, right?
For HHW,
Yeah.
this year's three. This year is going to be 3 times.
3 times.
Yep.
Why 3 times
this year? This year, because what we're doing is we're trying to build it up, John. No more 2 times. I want more than that. Well, my staff here wants more than that. And if it's going to cost us, $10,000, that's what it's going to cost us. We need to do right by the residents. More people moving in the city. 2 is not enough. 2 is not enough. We need more than that.
Can I add something in too with that?
Yeah.
Because I think the fact that we're taking the bull by the horns on this topic, I also I think it has to bear on the fact that we've had some flooding, we've had some different things happen, and there's been a lot of contamination that got washed away with a lot of these hurricanes and floodings.
Right.
And if people start to pay attention more and we're able to clear those areas, throughout the year better, I'm glad we're having it in March, because that's at least one date ahead of hurricane season. But I know that wasn't your target, but it has to be said that, even that thought in the back of your head, when it comes to the flooding effects, that's a lot of debris, being caught up where it not supposed to be.
Right. Correct. And you're right. And we do it in March so people can get ahead of the game, bring it to us in March. And we're going to try to do one possibly in June this year too. So we had one in October. We had one in December. We're going to have one in June, and then hopefully get that done too. So, I mean, the more the merrier. Let's get that HHW. That's it.
There's another big, there's another big event happening tonight, and it's the town hall meeting with the commissioners. We've done a lot of Northport Forward, United tours and different things like that, and trying to get information out to the citizens. How would you address it to the citizens on how they should engage with their city? I know the city, Jason Barlow and his team, they're out there really working hard to try to engage on the social media side of it and get information out. And I've seen you do the same thing with your videos and really trying to engage and lock people in for short takes, which are great informationals. All right.
Yes.
We do a lot of the events at City Hall and on the greens and the newcomers events. We do all those things. And yet still miss over people who walk around saying, I didn't know. Well, I believe that most of the information that we're talking about today is actually available online.
It's out there.
It is. And I think sometimes it's not the people who are involved. The people who are involved, they all know who I'm talking about. It's the people that kind of have their head in the sand and kind of go through the motion, or they're working. And I said this the other day, 80% of the people drive away to go to work. Holy cow. We have got to make ourselves at the station more user-friendly. So we're working on that too. And we're trying to come up with some creative ideas that work that way for the citizens. But I think the communication from all aspects of what we're all trying to do for the people that are out there who aren't involved, find a solution to get your news. Don't just get it off social media. Go into a source and try to find it yourself. Social media is a great way to kind of get the flavor, but really, I think people need to investigate and kind of do what we do. We have this conversation back and forth. I got to tell you, you've made me so strong in recycling and trash pickup. People are scared to have me come into their city. And and I love it because the minute I start talking recycling and what we do here,
Yeah.
they're blown away with the numbers that we produce, and it's really encouraging to be able to walk out into the communities that you're visiting, and talk about your city and separate yourself extremely quick.
I mean, so many different things that we've done here in this city. People just can't believe it. When I go to manager meetings with other solid waste divisions, I go to SWANA conferences. They just can't believe some of the things we've done here. They just cannot believe that the residents let us do this. And I'm like, well, the residents understand there's a cost savings to that. That's how you need to present it, that it's a cost savings. If you do that, the people will do it. Oh, they're so afraid. It's crazy.
Well, and you know what the other side is, you talked about the percentage of people involved now, and that's because of the continued education that you're pumping out to the citizens at every level, whether you're new or whether you've been a resident for a while and you're not doing it the correct way. It's all of those things. How and you said something, and I'm going to ask the question. We have a supervisor who goes out and checks the cans.
Yeah, he's a planner, scheduler. He goes out and educates all the residents on what belongs in the recycling and what does not. Correct.
How many cities do that?
None that I know of. The only thing they might do is go out and inspect the recycling container and tell you that you didn't do. They'll tell you that you need to address it. We're a little different than that, where the planner and scheduler goes out and meets every single resident moving into this city, and then plus goes out and knocks on someone's door and tells them what's going on, about to give them a call to explain what belongs in the recycling and what doesn't. No one does that. An inspector would just say, it needs to be addressed, and that's it. We're going out of our way, and that's why we should be doing it.
And here's my question. With what we're doing, aren't we paying ourselves for that?
Yes. Remember, it's $200 a ton for contaminated recycling. $200 a ton. You know what we paid last month for recycling? $8.44 a ton. $200 a ton for contaminated recycling. That's how important it is. The recycling center, they're not a landfill. They're not garbage. So they charge an arm and a leg.
There is something to be said about just keeping yourself up to date and current on what's happening with all these projects. We've got some citizens that are all over it, and we've got others, like I said, that kind of go through the motion. But to have a recycling program and a solid waste program that is actually, I guess I'm going to go back to what Bill said and be proactive. Chuck's not wrong when it comes to that. It's like there's something to be said about taking that approach, and then I got to ask how I know you personally feel good about what you guys are doing. I know the staff there in that building walks around like, we got this in check, and we're looking for new things, and we're looking for other ideas and thoughts and streamlining things. That's got to be one heck of an environment to go to work in. But at the same time, you guys aren't walking around with all the citizens of Northport, when you walk into Publix clapping their hands. They don't know who you are, a lot of them, to this day. But there are a few out there that you're
might recognize us.
Yeah, they recognize you. Yeah. They're out there.
I know I see you once in a while out there, so you recognize me.
Chuck English got me on this one. He got me. I can't even argue with him over this one over coffee. But he said, I think the word you're looking for, John, is outstanding. And I do. I think you guys are outstanding. Frank, you know that anyway because of the conversations we've had. There's something to be said about doing your job over and beyond. and the
You have
pride
to
that
be, yeah, John, you have to take pride. You have to be dedicated. You have to really care about the citizens of this city. And as I personally, I live in this city, so I feel like there's a lot of pressure on myself to make sure I do the right thing. That's it.
so we got about 5 minutes left.
Yep.
How much is a brand new truck today?
450,000.
All right, so it's gone up $50,000 because I remember
Yep.
you telling me 400,000 buys a new truck. So it's gone up
John,
50.
John, the craziest thing is when I first started here, they cost 120,000. now they're at 450,000.
So
it's incredible.
We're still chasing, and you said something else, so I'm gonna point this out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With recycling paying less, we're still getting paid a positive return.
Yes. Oh yeah. Positive return. Yep. Positive return on both the yard waste center and the recycling center. The garbage is killing us up. I mean, you think about it, 30 trips back and forth. I mean, trucks breaking down, costs us at you. And with the growth, we're going to need more trucks and people. I mean, that's it. And the story.
Hey, commissioners, are you listening? Are you listening? Wake up. Let's get this done. Because you know what?
Yeah.
We have bragging rights already. Let's just exploit the bragging rights and let's cut some costs the right way. And let's manage these trucks the right way, because at $450,000 a pop, we're not even talking about time spent. We're not talking about the staff having to drive and the fuel. We're not talking about the maintenance that has to be done. We're not talking about any of those.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the raw number. A $450,000 vehicle has a better longevity if you don't go back and forth.
It sure does.
And why not keep that truck here and operable and keep that maintenance going in the right direction? Because you could probably, I bet you could get a good 2 to 4 years more out of a vehicle if they weren't going back and forth.
Yep. And John, to mention our yard waste center, our centers, right? Remember, we have 53-foot trailers there that collect all the material and take it to far distances, right?
Right.
The maintenance on them is minimal. And I've had them for 4 years at the yard waste center and 6 years at the recycling center. Minimal. Our garbage trucks, they're costing me like $30,000 a year with breakdowns. So it's like, okay, there's definitely big time savings here somewhere. Definitely savings. It's just crazy.
I mean,
barely breaking down.
There is no reason not to do this.
Right.
There really isn't.
Yeah,
can you give one good reason? Like you've given like 5 good reasons to do.
Yep. And John, you hit one on the head. $453,000 for a new truck. Just think, that's $900,000 every year. Okay, just to keep up with the growth, and then 2 people. I mean, the trucks, and then guess what? Like they keep going up. 400 the last time we talked. 453. What is it going to be next year? 500. 2 years from now, 500. I mean,
easy.
When does it stop? It just doesn't.
It isn't going to stop. And you know, the one thing I know about you is neither are you.
That's right. Not stopping. Not stopping.
You didn't even hesitate.
Not stopping. Nope, not going to stop. No.
So
it can let the people down here. And that's it. Cannot let the people down.
We got about a minute and a half. And why don't you take a minute and throw some kudos out to people, staff, employees that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have some excellent employees here. I mean, we have 40 drivers out there. I mean, some travel very long distances to deliver material, and you know how cautious they are when they're driving. They care about the community, like you said, picking up the things like that. And also here, staff here, even in this building here at Public Works, like you said. I mean, I have some great directors and assistant directors here. They're awesome and very supportive, and I'll go to the moon for them. So I mean, we're very fortunate here. We work for, you know, I'm definitely grateful. You know, it's a pleasure and a privilege being here, working here for this city for this long, and to still keep providing the people savings and keep doing the best I can to make sure that the assessment stays low and do the best I can. That's it every day.
Awesome, Frank. Well, thanks for
every
being
day.
part of the show today. I appreciate you, brother. And
Hey, don't forget, me and you got to get together and we got to do a recycling tow one day.
Oh no, we're
I'm
the
going to
next
try to
time.
set that up.
The next time, that's
I'm
your
gonna try
job. Set it up because I'll be there. You pick the
I'm going to
date.
try to set that up with Jason.
All right,
But
buddy.
listen, thank you very much for having me, though.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
This is
Take care.
John Rawlings with Real Talk Radio saying thanks to Super Frank Lama at the Public Works and fantastic job that they do there in our solid waste pickup. Great manager. We'll talk to you guys soon.